Hey everyone, it's Carmen here. And today is the day I am breaking a pattern of behavior that is not serving me. This is something that I learned when I break a pattern. Being that we're all fractal beings, the moment we break a pattern, we evolve. Hi, Tony. Thank you for being here. I'm really nervous because I haven't done my usual live videos for a very long time. And I've been sort of cocooning myself. I kept on blaming it on the fact that I've been going through a spiritual awakening, and that's part of the process. But then again, I have so many ideas, so many thoughts, so much to create, so much to give. And I feel that I'm not just doing a disservice to myself, but a disservice to the world. I feel that I have an obligation to give, that I have an obligation to share. And what I realized a few days ago is that many of the people I'm talking to are going through moments of depression and anxiety and all kinds of unwanted emotions that most of them are associating these emotions with what's going on in the world right now. And I've been doing the same thing. And at the same time, I'm realizing that everything that is happening around us, they're all external factors. And there's only one thing that can actually shift us and make us be who we truly are and make us be happy within ourselves. And that is the power we have within ourselves. Understanding the power that we have. Because the moment we let external factors influence who we are, influence what's happening to us on a daily basis, it's as if we're handing our power on a silver platter to this entity or entities or events or situations, right? So I've had a spiritual awakening back in 2019 when I woke up in a panic, asking myself, who am I? And I thought, it's time now that I break away from this awakening, and I've got my answer. I've laid myself the path for what's coming next for myself, and yet I'm still feeling off. Let's say I still feel moments of depression, which, by the way, I've never experienced depression before. I've never really experienced anxiety other than moments of anxiety where I just felt fearful towards one little event, but then I just overcame by myself. And yet nowadays I find myself sort of confined in my own space based on fear, based on anxiety and depression. And I realized something very, very interesting. I realized that the entire world is going right now through a spiritual awakening, something that most people don't realize. And they blame it on just the fact that they have anxiety and they are depressed. And by the way, I'd like to stress this point that it's very, very important. The affirmation, the statement we make when you say I am, right? I used to say, almost not thinking about it, I am such a procrastinator. Or I am depressed, or I am anxious. Now, when you state these two words, I am, it's really a contract you make with the universe. You sign a contract without realizing what you're doing. And this contract is binding. So the moment you state that I am a procrastinator or I am depressed, it's as if you're telling the universe that this is what you are willing to attract in your life. This is what you're willing to bring into your space. And the universe is going to comply whether you like it or not. it's a drive-through. The universe really is like a drive-through. Whatever you put out is what you receive. You know, you say, I want to do this, I'm going to get that, right? What I realized when it comes to a spiritual, hi Carolyn, so good to see you. What I realized when it comes to a spiritual awakening, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a spiritual awakening is really a opportunity for an inward journey. We don't really look at the exterior world when we have a spiritual awakening. And by the way, some people call it the dark night of the soul, midlife crisis, whatever you want to call it, right? It's really an awakening, because what happens is you wake up one day with an existential question, and that question makes you start looking inside. And as they say, the only way out is in, right? So if you try to find the answer to your question, to your existential question somewhere in the exterior world, you're not going to find it. The only place you're going to find it is within yourself, and know that you have all the answers to every single question. They're all within yourself. So a few days ago, I woke up asking myself the following question, which became my new existential question. And the question is, who am I feeding? In other words, my emotions, my feelings, my behavior, when I analyze it, is it serving me and my mission in life? Is it congruent with who I am looking to become? This new person, this new entity that I am morphing into, is it congruent with that? And I realized that the answer was no, because going through anxiety and depression and going through sort of moments of despair, when you look around and see the pain and the suffering that is going around in the world, you can't help but ask yourself at times all kinds of existential questions. Existential questions like, who am I? Like, what's the point of it all? Like, why am I even in this world? What is my purpose? Like, when you have these questions come towards you, it's a sign. It's a sign that you need to pay attention to. It's a sign that you need to start going inward to find these answers, because the answer will not only help you, but will help raise the world's consciousness, will raise your vibration. In turn, you will contribute to raising the vibration of the entire world. So my question, back to my question, who am I feeding? Why am I asking myself this question? Because there's only two majorly different factors in the world that influence the world. Fear and love. They're complete opposite from each other, right? There's fear, when fear is instilled in a human being, when people behave or react instead of respond. When they react based on fear, the response will be that will sort of save their lives, right? Here you are, my love. I'm so happy to see you. So when you act based on fear, what you're looking to achieve is something that will save your life. But when you act based on love, so when your events, when your actions, everything that you do, your words are based on love, the response, the result of that will be more love, will be that will not only help you, but will help the entire world. So you see the difference between focusing your thoughts, focusing your actions based on fear, and focusing your action based on love. So when I ask myself this question, who am I feeding today? Am I feeding fear or am I feeding love? Fear is the food of evil. Go back in history, go back in religion, go back in socio-cultural economic stages of evolution, of human evolution, and you will find out. I'm not here to teach you any of that. In fact, I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm only here to share my love to you. That's all. But I'm urging you to go and do some of your homework regarding what fear has done to the humankind and how it affected humankind, and what love has done towards humankind and how it affected human evolution and where we are in today's world. So the question is, again, who am I feeding today? Am I feeding fear or am I feeding love? Do I want to feed with my feelings and with my emotions and with my actions? Do I want to feed a force for evil? Or do I want to feed a force for good? Am I a force for good? Or am I a force for evil? This is my existential crisis. And because I've already gone through an existential spiritual awakening, let's call it, because it sounds so much fancier than an existential crisis. Because I've already gone through one of these crises, awakenings, words matter, right? Because I've gone through that, I know what to expect now. I know that the answer is within me, and I know that only I can take action and correct my behavior. We all know that we are being divided. And again, if you tap into those history lessons that are being censored, many of them are being censored, but many, they're still available out there. You can still tap into them, and you can find out how the expression divide and conquer is probably one of the most thought after when it comes to unethical leadership, let's say, right? Divide et imperat. This is something that has been quoted by Romans, has been created by Romans thousands of years ago, right? When you divide your nation, you will be able to control them better. So many ways in which you can divide people. They can stand against each other based on, thank you, Asanda, I choose love over fear. That's right. Fear and love cannot coexist. Whenever somebody's trying to instill fear into us, we know clearly that we cannot receive love from that same person. So we can only do one or the other. So what are we divided on? We're divided on color. We're divided on politics. We're divided based on whether or not we're going to get jobbed. We divided based on whether or not we eat vegan foods or meats, and one is evil and the other one isn't. It's like we constantly live in this dualistic world in which something is good and something is bad. Now, I'm not saying that we should all simply give up duality, because unfortunately that is a path that we have to maybe go a little deeper into, into the darker caverns of our soul, until we uncover that duality is not necessary. But until that point, what we need to do as human beings is to at least shift from that stage, from that lowest level of consciousness of victimhood when life happens to us, to life happens for us. It's a very, very small shift. It's a minuscule shift that we can take. We can make this shift with a simple thought. When something happens in our life and we perceive it to be bad, negative, something that shifted completely what's happening, whether we go through a divorce, whether we go through a illness, whether we go through a loved one dies, or changing jobs or business or whatever, all kinds of what we would normally call, let's say, a failure, or I should say what we were conditioned to believe there were failures, right? All of these things, when they come into our lives, what is it that we're saying to ourselves in that moment? Why is this happening to me? Are we saying that or not? Because if we're saying that, we're staying in a victim mode. That means this life, why is God doing this to me? Does God even exist? Why is it happening to me? Like, why have I done something wrong? In that moment, what we have to do is to shift to saying, you know what? Thank you, God, for the lessons. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to up level. Everything that triggers us, everything that makes us, that shifts our thinking, is actually an opportunity for an upgrade. In that moment when we see that there's something not working within ourselves, this is our moment, our opportunity to learn and get better. And this is how we do this repeatedly, right? We increase our consciousness muscle, they call it. It's simple. It's very, very simple. It's just a minimal, simple exercise to shift from, is life happening to me or is life happening for me? That's it. That's the only thing we need to do. Now, realize that once we shift from the level of victimhood into the level of manifesting a life for us, then we have the power of decision. Our best life, our most amazing life, the peace, the happiness that we can reach is one decision away from this point. Every decision you make can change your life in a jiff. So yesterday I was dog walking, my own dogs, of course. I get so many great ideas and so many amazing revelations when I walk my dogs, and I just am so grateful for that. And the words that came out of my mouth at one point were, I want to be happy. And I found those words extremely profound because I haven't been sort of feeling happy. I've always been a happy person, but lately I haven't really been feeling happy. So I said to myself, what do I need in order to be happy? Well, it's just a decision. It's a decision to be happy, but the decision needs to have a behavior attached to it. So that moment in the morning when I wake up and I'm having trouble getting out of bed and taking action towards my dreams, that right there, if I can just switch in that moment from thinking that it's not worth it, what's the point, to I have an opportunity, I have a choice, or I have a shot at it. As Wayne Gretzky said, you miss every shot you don't take. So I'm encouraging you all. Oh, hi, mother. Buna mama. My mother is watching me live. Am să te sun mai târziu să-ți spun despre ce am vorbit. I will call you later and tell you what I was talking about. So to cut this story short, well, too late, I guess, I made a decision. I made a decision to be happy. I took this decision to be happy. What makes me happy? Then I ask myself. So, and I encourage you to do the same. Use the same journal, sort of like journal your questioning, right? What makes you happy? What made me happy? What makes me happy is writing. If I'm a writer, then write. So I started writing. What else makes me happy? What makes me happy is sharing my thoughts, sharing my ideas with you all. So here I am, after many, many months of not doing my usual inspirational, motivational, visionary videos. Here I am back again. And by the way, I am committed because I'm going to address another small but big issue here. And that is trauma. I'm talking about childhood trauma. We all have some kind of a trauma attached to us, right? Whether we know it or not. And if you don't know it, you may want to tap into it, because that is one way to go on your inner journey, on your inward journey. So we all have some of these traumas, and there's antidotes to trauma. One of the antidotes to trauma, to childhood trauma, is commitment. Find out if you're having trouble committing. Find out if you're having trouble staying faithful to someone. I mean, there's a lot of things that but those are maybe subjects for other videos. But I had committed today to start a 66 days of live videos in which I will share all kinds of subjects of conversation. And I promise I'm going to try to keep them short. I may or may not. I don't know. If I go crazy, I may go half an hour on a video, but maybe not. I hope not. I'm trying to not waste your time, guys. If you have any thoughts, any ideas, many of you know who I am, and we've engaged in conversations, and we've engaged in all kinds of wonderful, wonderful revelations, and we've maybe figured things out together. Let me know, what subject do you want me to speak on? I have a lot of ideas, but I'd like to speak on subjects that interest you guys. Because as they say, there's no better learning tool than teaching. So as I attempt to teach, I will learn myself. I'm going to check my little notes here so that I know that I didn't forget anything. And that's it. Oh, I know. I had another idea. I have another idea, and I wrote this down here. Oh, the reason why I'm going to do the 66 days is because they say, studies show that nowadays it takes 66 days to build a habit. It used to be 21 days. But with everybody being so scatterbrained these days. Hey, Muna. Hey, Doru. Good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. This is exciting. So they say, that we all have the attention span of a hummingbird these days. Like, you have so many messages. Hi, Jan. Good to see you. Long time. Our attention span is very, very small. So therefore, it's a lot harder these days to build a habit. So they say that 21 days is not sufficient to build a habit, right? I want to build the habit of getting online every day. Now, if I skip a day or two, not within the first 66 days, but past that, if I skip a day or two after that, no problem. But within the first 66 days, I want to do a video every day. I'm committed to that. I'm committed, and I promise to do that. And if I don't do it, one of you is allowed to message me. No, shame me. Put it on my page, not just message me. Put it on my page and say, where is your video today? Where is your video today? Please do it. Do not let me fall between the cracks of my own awakening, because that may happen. I'm only human, guys. All right, so I had one other thought, a very, very interesting thought about choosing whether or not to stay in the state of depression and anxiety and choosing happiness instead. Look around and find out, what's the reason for your unhappiness in that moment? What is the reason? What's making you feel uneasy? What's making you feel unsafe? What's making you feel unhappy? What's making you feel depressed? What's making you feel anxiety? Pinpoint that. So let's give you as an example, right? Watching too many documentaries, doomsday documentaries that will just basically sort of condition you that the world is coming to an end, or at least the world we know it. So what is that trying to tell me? What is that pattern trying to tell me? It's trying to tell me to live in fear, to go stock up on toilet paper and food supplies and whatever, and to constantly talk to everybody. What else do you know? What else do you know? Is the world coming to an end? Is it true? So it's like we're trying to convince, the cognitive dissonance, right? We're trying to convince ourselves with everything that we see around that what we believe is true. So we create our own reality, and then we look for proof that we're right. Now, if that doesn't serve you, if that fear doesn't serve you, and you recognize that, you have the power, you have the sovereignty within yourself, the strength to recognize that fear doesn't serve you, then what you have to do is find out, what is it trying to tell you, right? It's trying to tell me to hide, to live in fear, to go buy all kinds of stuff, to, have these conversations with everybody I meet, right? Well, in that moment when I realize that that fear is not serving me, what I need to do is to take extreme action in the opposite direction. So the moment I identify what is trying to tell me, what my fear is trying to tell me, I take extreme action in the opposite direction. Imagine being a child, a kid. You know where a kid throws a temper tantrum? If he wants to do something or he doesn't want to do what you tell him to do, if he will stamp his foot on the ground and he will do exactly what he wants to do. Put yourself in that kid's shoes. Do not let anyone tell you what to do, how to behave, and what the next step in your life is. Stand your ground. Be a child. Be a powerful, enlightened child. This is the only way we can break through this spiritual awakening that the entire world is going through right now. Go out there. Do what makes you happy. Do what brings you joy. Whether it's cooking or cleaning or looking after babies or training a dog, whatever that is, whether it's making you money or not, just go and do what makes you happy. And again, to go back to my original question, the question I had a few days ago that I consider an existential question is this: who am I feeding today? There you go, Muna, painting. Follow Muna. She's commenting on this post. Please follow Muna. She has the most beautiful, beautiful paintings that she's doing. And she's only started this during this period of time when everybody struggles. She found a way to express her creativity. Creativity is the highest form of expression. It is the closest we can possibly be to God. It is the communication we entertain with God when we create. Find something creative. Follow your joy. Read, write, dance, do the thing. There you go. Muna says, my salvage and therapy. That is what it is. Guys, this is the only way we can prevail. This is the only way we can stop feeding the evil and we start feeding love. So, who are you feeding today? Are you feeding the force of evil or are you feeding the force for good? I know what I'm doing. See you tomorrow. I love you all. Let me take a look through the comments. If I have to answer any of them, I will. If not, I may do it later on, just through messaging. Oh my God, there's so many of you here. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you being here today. Stay tuned for more. I'm definitely going to let loose on this because it is what it is. I'm not going to let my own spiritual awakening and my own crisis get in the way of who I am becoming. Here's the thing. We can face our life and everything that is being thrown at us with joy. We don't have to go through it with pettiness and despair and depression and anxiety. We don't have to. That's a choice. To me, the revelation I had that I'm feeding a force for evil was so impactful that in that moment when it occurred to me, I got out of bed and I said, oh my God, I'm doing it without realizing it. I'm feeding this force that is growing based on the amount of fear we feed it. This force of evil that lives around us feeds itself on fear, on despair, on anxiety. You can go to the doctor and get some anxiety pills or depression pills or all kinds of pills. But the source of depression and the source of anxiety is not going away. We're just masking it, and we keep on leaving it and then we get another medication stronger. Think about it. Think about it. Why would I use my vital energy to feed a force that is trying to divide us? I love you all. Te pup, Daniela. Mulțumesc. Thank you all for being here. I love you, I love you, I love you. Hit me up with your comments. Hit me up with any ideas that you have, whatever thoughts you might have that you'd like me to talk on. I can talk, and I love to talk, so I'm going to talk. Why not? I'm going to stick it to the big guy. Whoever that is up there, I'm going to stick it to him. I'm done. I want to be happy, and I'm going to be happy. I love you all. I hope you're all happy. I'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, peace, love, and imagination. Bye-bye.